You're kind of maybe, as far as pro stock is concerned, our local boy, because you're from Washington.
Yeah, I grew up in Washington State, so I've raced with a lot of these Division 6 guys a bunch. So, you know, I raced against the old Rad Torque Systems guy himself, Dan Provost over here. So, you know, without him, I couldn't be racing pro stock. So,
who won the last time you raced?
So far this year, I see you're over Matt Hartford about 162 points, 9 races into the season. So I don't even know if you know all that stuff, but are you keeping it in your head or not? But you're having a heck of a season.
Yeah, it definitely started off good. I knew going into Gainesville we were going to have a good car, and it took a couple races to kind of work all the little gremlins out. But once we got them worked out, things just started clicking off, and now I've got a lot of momentum going, and I just need to keep it going. You know, it doesn't matter how big of a lead you got going into the countdown. All that matters is what you got going out of the countdown. So we still have a lot of racing left to do.
Yeah, and Eric has picked it up a little bit too in the last couple of races, and everybody was wondering what was going to happen with that. And but your new, you got the new boss. I guess the team kind of changed hands a little bit, I think, and you've got, and it's kind of hard to. Is it hard to work for Greg?
Oh no. I mean, Greg is the hardest working guy you'll ever meet. I guarantee you, he's probably still at the shop right now in North Carolina. You know, I haven't seen too many people that work 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You can go in there on Christmas, I guarantee he goes in there for a couple hours. So it's really good working for people like that. We need to set an example of the work ethic in the shop. He doesn't care about anything but winning and winning by the most amount possible. So.
They were with KB Racing, and Ken Black actually retired last year, so Greg Anderson is now, I guess, kind of your team leader type guy. And Greg Anderson is, if anybody's into pro stock racing, he's kind of the GOAT, I guess, is probably the best way to put it. So,
What was your first car you ever raced?
The first car that I ever raced was, let's see, my dad had a 1955 Chevy wagon. And I ran it in Super Pro. That's the first car that I've ever drag raced. You know, right when I turned 16, 3 days later, I'm at the dragster getting licensed on that thing. The very first car that I ever raced when I was 5, I used to race quarter midgets, which I believe they do here in the Northwest still. But I only did that for a few years, and then I kind of stepped back from that and let my brothers race.
I would tell everybody what you do at KB Racing.
Go through.
He's not just a driver.
Yeah, at KB Racing, I started there. When I first started, I was just a lowly back half guy, so I was taking care of everything on the back end of the car, the changing tires and rear gears and shocks and suspension and stuff like that. And I was started on Jason Lyon's car. Well, I've kind of worked my way up, and now that I'm driving them, I still do all of my old jobs. I do the clutch on my own car. I service the clutch in between every run. I build all the transmissions for my car. I have my dad working on the back end of the car with me, and I help him do rear gear swaps. I build all the rear gears for all 4 KB cars, and I still drive the semi to every race too. So I do a little bit of everything.
Why pro stock?
Oh yeah.
I've always loved pro stock. Before I got a job with KB Racing, I worked in an engine machine shop, and I absolutely love everything about trying to get the most amount of horsepower out of a naturally aspirated engine, and there is no better class than that than pro stock.
What's your favorite track? You better say Edmonton.
Right now, definitely Edmonton. I love Rad Torque Raceway. This is a great facility here. The favorite track to race pro stock at? Possibly, I think, Las Vegas. I've had a lot of success there. It's a great facility. My parents live there. I have a lot of friends, and I get to see a lot of my Division 6 and 7 friends there as well. So it's always a great time whenever we go to Las Vegas.
2 wide or 4 wide?
I like the 2 wide a little more. 4 wide gets a little bit hectic, but 4 wide is still fun. It's a little change up during the season, so it's still fun to do 4 wide once or twice a year, but twice is about enough. You're ready to go back to 2 wide after 2 races in a row.
So the next thing I'm going to ask you is, okay, so now you're at the top of the echelon in door car racing as far as NHRA, Camping World Series, Pro Stock, and so did you feel it was intimidating when you first got involved, or because you were working so much with the teams and with the cars that getting in the driver's seat wasn't really that much of a transition?
No, it definitely was a little bit of a learning curve. There's a lot more to driving than driving. I felt like the in-car stuff, I could handle that. I could learn, that it's very, very, very meticulous, and learning all the little details that I didn't getting comfortable in the car and making sure I do everything the same every time, that kind of thing, hitting my shift points. That took just a few races to kind of get more comfortable with. But it's all this other little stuff, like this here. All the other little stuff that the drivers have to do that's taken just a little bit longer to get comfortable with. But I feel like I've kind of settled into where I want to be. So no, there's a lot of stuff different that kind of took me by surprise. One of the shocking things about driving a pro stock car is how incredibly difficult it is to do everything perfect every time. You can go up there. It's not just cut a light and go make a run. There's all these very little details about staging at the same RPM, staging as shallow as you can. And the cars they're not exactly easy to drive. So they're very picky and meticulous and finicky, and sometimes they get a little attitude and they don't want to work right. So sometimes even when you do everything perfect, the luck just kind of isn't on your side. So it's incredibly difficult to win one of these races.
So this season, I'm sorry I didn't look at. You've got 6 career wins, I think, so far. But how are you doing this season? I think you've got 2 wins in this, 3 wins in this year, and I think you've gone to a final or something, 2 finals. So you're having a heck of a season in 9 races for the season. So 9 out of 21 races. Now, being 161 points against Matt Hartford right now, that's going to be pretty tough for him to climb back into that position unless you guys don't maintain the situation that you've got going. But like you say, once you get to the end of and you get into the playoff, it changes everything.
One of the biggest things that's different about this year is we have the Too Fast, Too Tasty challenge that races on Saturday. And they basically rematch the semifinals of the previous race. But what a lot of the fans don't know is that the winner of that race gets 3 championship points. So, and the runner-up gets 2 championship points. So, to make it into the final of that race is going to be extremely huge for the countdown implications. So, my goal going into the season was no matter what, all I wanted to do every single race at the very minimum was make it to the semifinals of every race, just to give myself the best chance of getting those championship points. Because normally, for the last, however many years we've been doing the countdown, most of these pre-countdown races are just to kind of get set up for the last 6 races. So now, with having this Too Fast, Too Tasty challenge, we have a little bit of a way to kind of chip away at somebody's potential lead going into the countdown. So or extend yourself an extra round. So all these little points could definitely add up. There's been several years in a row where the championship was won and lost by less than 10 points. So getting an extra 3 points over somebody here or there could be huge.
Any aspirations to go to Nitro?
No, I definitely found my home here in Pro Stock, and Dan's definitely shaking his head no on top fuel. So that's a whole other world. If by some, if the planets went one way, Pro Stock went away, I don't know. I'm not sure which direction I would go, but I definitely, I've always told people if you put a top fuel car and a Pro Stock car in front of me and told me to pick one, I would pick the Pro Stock car. It's just, there's people who like nitro, there's people who like shifting gears. So I'm one of those gear shifter guys.
You're still doing a lot of bracket racing, right? Somewhat in between.
Yeah, I do some bracket racing in between. This year I've been trying to get my wife's car here together so that she can go out and have a good time racing her car and get it squared away. I do have a 68 El Camino that I like to run in pro bracket or foot brake in some of these larger races too. So I've got a few little things to do that before I take it out, but it's pretty much, I'm either on any off weekend, I'm either racing or I'm golfing, one of the two.
The top dragster field you're in this weekend. I look at the entry list and there's not a slouch amongst any of them. And you're an outsider. You're coming in from the Camping World Series and coming into this. Thoughts coming in to qualifying and of course eliminations this weekend on that.
Being an outsider coming into a kind of an unknown field, I almost kind of like it because when I don't know anybody, then I don't try to get in my head on how I'm going to race anybody. I just kind of go up there and do my thing. So that's one of the things that I like. Other than the fact that my wife is also one of the competitors, as long as I don't line up against her, I think I'll be fine.
Is there any side bet action if that comes to pass? If you guys match up in a final or something?
No, I don't do too much side betting. I kind of just let things go. If somebody wants to make a bet with me, I usually am willing to do something. So we point at Chevy here. So maybe if we have to race later on, maybe we'll do something.
Yeah.